The Shield, in my opinion, is one of the best shows of all time. That is kind of forgotten about, or at least put down, despite the fact that it is the second big show behind The Sopranos.
Well, it really was a game changer. We broke through with, basic cable. There wasn't anything on basic cable when we broke through, and it really changed the whole landscape of television at the time. So we pushed the cop show genre to a different place, and at the same time made cable a viable place to do original content. So,
however, it does seem to be forgotten. I think the biggest reason for this is the fact that it was network FX at the time wasn't a well-liked or respected TV channel, and The Shield had to be the show to really kickstart the respect that it needed. However, this leads to the next problem, because being on a much smaller network, it led the show to be somewhat overlooked compared to the obvious rival of HBO, which at the time had The Sopranos and of course The Wire. But despite this, The Shield was able to pick up an Emmy for Michael Chiklis' performance. Now, I think one of the major reasons it's overlooked is the fact that it came out in close proximity to The Wire, which, due to The Wire's incredible dense layered writing, made people see The Shield as just the inferior show. I agree The Wire is better, however The Shield is still very much good. So why is it underrated? First off, much like The Sopranos, it changed TV. Now of course Tony Soprano was the man who made anti-heroes more acceptable on TV, however The Shield also contributed to that, as the show followed a police officer, Vic, and the show was nearly never aired. This is due to the fact of 9/11, which made networks executives scared of essentially having a morally corrupt police officer. However, this changed because of the film Training Day, which is very successful and even won Oscars, and thus The Shield aired. And thus made one of TV's best protagonists, Vic Mackey, who is shown as this sort of alpha male. However, he is shown to be quite evil, selling drugs, stealing money, and of course, killing a police officer. The pilot of The Shield just might be the best pilot I've ever seen. This is due to its ending, having a massive shock that being Vic killing a police officer, which I think is so shocking and well done, it immediately hooks you in a way I've not seen done by another show. And of course everything else in the pilot is great. Of course the acting from Michael Chiklis, who immediately shows us the audience what type of person Vic is.
What the hell, man? Hey, look at that booty. Looks like you got some kind of third ad going down there.
Another thing I want to talk about that I think's underrated is the show's cinematography. By today's standards, this almost documentary way of filming is overused. However, at the time this is somewhat more of a fresh idea, especially in dramatic television, and I think it's an underrated key to why the show was so great. Next, I want to talk about the acting. Now, like any other great show, it has great acting. However, the type of acting in The Shield is especially great. A great example of this is Forrest Whitaker's character, who we see as a kind of chubby guy. However, over the course of his hunt to expose Vic, he slowly but surely loses weight due to the stress he's been put under. Another big one is Walton Goggins, who plays Shane. Shane is a character that I think, if any other actor were to play him, he would just come off as completely unlikable and irredeemable. However, despite all the bad and crazy things he does, Goggins is able to make the character much more sympathetic and pitiful, rather than totally dislikable. All because of his great performance, which I think shows you how underappreciated Goggins is as an actor.
Oh God!
And then there's David Snell, who isn't really given much. However, in his one big scene, he really nails it, giving a tragic and really engrossing performance, showing us how much of a selfish guy Vic really is.
I thought Corinne...
You goddamn sorry! Process him.
Take him in.
I didn't think I had a choice.
What about my goddamn choice, Vic?
Okay, all right.
Where was my goddamn choice? I was going to run! We were gonna run together!
And of course there are many other great actors on the show. My next big point is Season 5. I believe that every TV show that is regarded as the greatest has that one season. Sopranos Season 2, The Wire Season 4, Breaking Bad Season 5 or 4. And for The Shield, I believe it has a season that should be in that upper echelon that these TV shows seasons are in. And that is The Shield Season 5, which houses the show's best scenes acting, plotlines, and one of TV's greatest cat and mouse chases that is in the same league as Walter and Hank, and has one of the most shocking deaths in TV history. That really is not just shocking for shocking's sake, it really has that moment that you realise how good the show really is.
Are you happy? Now, Detective Mackey.
And the season is not really ever topped, and what makes it even better is because season 4 of The Shield is the show's weakest. Not bad, but very inconsistent. However, the writers realised they had to pick up their game, and they sure did in season 5, as it's one of the best in dramatic television. And my final point is the finale, which I believe is one of, if not the best finale I've personally ever seen. The way it wraps up the show's plotlines nicely, and even leaving some loose to signify to the audience that crime will continue to happen past the show's ending. And the way in which Vic ends up, which I think is able to subvert the audience expectations, from a predictable ending to one which you are on the edge of your seat for. All done perfectly in this episode. The cinematography, incredible, especially this long, slow panning shot on Vic. Of course, the acting from Michael Chiklis. The tragedy of Shane and his fate. Vic and his family's situation, all done to perfection in a perfect episode of TV if there ever was one. In conclusion, I believe The Shield should get more respect. It has top tier writing, acting, seasons, characters, deaths, pilots, finales, all of which I think are very much comparable to the more acclaimed shows of all time. And I believe The Shield is one of the best shows of all time.